Nels, disappointing afternoon here at the South Direct. How do you sum that one up?
Very disappointing. Again, early in the first half, I thought we started the game quite bright. Got into some good positions and balls across the face of goal. Early on, fella put two good balls in down the left, and then just right before they score, we do the same again. This time on the other side, comes across and we don't manage to get a good enough contact on to finish, and they go up the other end and take the lead. So disappointing and frustrating.
You mentioned it there, it's a serious case, especially first half, of not taking your chances. You'll get punished because fella who's obviously just returned this week, 2 great chances for him and probably should have been 1-0 up.
Yeah, he had another great chance and the lad makes a good block from him, and then obviously the chance right before the goal, and he also put a couple of good balls in himself. He was bright and direct when he got it, especially in the first half. 1v1 against the right back and got balls into a dangerous area, but we didn't have enough people arriving to finish it off.
You mentioned it there, the fella's big chance, 30 seconds later they go down the other end and score, and we go into the break at 1-0, and at 1-0 game's obviously still wide open. What was your message to the lads at half time? To make sure that we went out there second half and performed with the more intensity and more intent. Try and play forward more when we got it, rather than being negative and going backwards. And if we couldn't play forward, trying to get forward runners, so breaking lines with and without the ball. And then we concede the second goal, and they sort of take control and just sort of manage the game very well. Is it disappointment that the 3 goals comes from 3 crosses, and you look at the third goal and you kind of wonder how the defenders at the back post just stood on his own? Yeah, well, they get the first contact from the cross into the box, and the ball's in the air a long time. Ben's trying his best to get across and get there, and there's nobody anywhere near him when he puts it in. It's what happens in both boxes will generally decide the game, and the balls we put into the same area where they scored their goals, we put balls into them areas at first half especially, and never got anything out of it. And when they did, they were ruthless and they finished it. A few injuries coming in today, and we knew we were already struggling with the likes of Nicky Featherstone and Joe Gray, but Neil Byrne, Gary Liddell, Bryn Morris all missed out. What was the situation with them this week? Burner turned his ankle on Thursday, I think it was, so he was struggling and a doubt from then. Gary Liddell had an issue with his calf, a little bit of a strain, so he was unavailable. Would have made it a lot worse if he'd have been involved today. And Bryn had a knock on Monday, which flared up again at the back end of the week, and it was a precautionary one really to leave him out. Hopefully he'll be fine for next week, and hopefully there'll be some more back as well for that game. Just about mentioning it, in positive news, Nicky Featherstone's had his scan results back, I believe. Yeah, he's I don't believe it's as bad as we feared. He's still sort of a little bit of pain management and having to sort of go through the pain to train and play, which I'm sure the character that he is, he'd be more than happy to do that. And I know he's frustrated he couldn't be involved today, so I'm sure he'll be banging on the manager's door to be involved next week. You mentioned him there, the manager tested positive this morning, so obviously couldn't come along today, but you watched the game obviously. Was he once again trying to get messages to the bench? Yeah, he was getting messages across in terms of little tweaks to the shape and subs that were made and things like that. It's obviously tough for him watching it on a laptop, or he can't get a good enough view of the game as he could if he was here, but he's trying his best to get messages over to try and affect the game, and unfortunately whatever we tried today just didn't work. You spoke to him on the phone at the end. What was his thoughts and feelings? Again, disappointment and frustration really. He's got his views on the game from what he's seen, and obviously speaking to myself and Sween's, giving him more information. He's obviously not happy with the result and several parts of the performance. What was the message to the lads in a full time? Because it's obviously a bad run at the moment for the club, and I think you try to look at the perspective of
that it's been a fantastic season. It would have been a lot worse if this was a relegation battle and we were coming here and being defeated. But what do you say to the lads there at the end?
That they've got to be better. We've came out on Friday in the press conference and sort of defended them in terms of the stats and the numbers, sort of suggest that they're still working as hard and they're not on the beach, but it's hard to defend that with a performance like that and a 3-0 defeat. It wasn't as intense and enough belief as we wanted. We wanted it to be a lot higher intensity. And second half we just weren't.
You could see straight away in the Swindon midfield, especially as I think both teams matched up the same formation. Swindon, the quality of Johnny Williams and Payne, and was it those types of players that Hartlepool need, that quality to pick the game by the scruff of its neck, and in the end their midfield might have overrun ours a little bit.
Yeah, you need that. You need that quality, that calmness, that killer instinct as well, in terms of, like I say, taking your chances when you get them, which they did. And you also need the characters to recognise what stage the game's at, when you need to speed the tempo up or maybe slow it down. And I thought they were very good at the game management once they went 2 up. I thought once we conceded the first goal, we lost our way for 5 or 10 minutes and almost looked like we thought we had to get right back in the game straight away, and by doing that we almost conceded a second. So our game management wasn't as good as theirs, and that's something that we definitely need to improve on.
And just finally, how important is it for ourselves, but for the 1,500 Pools fans that are going to follow us to Scunthorpe next week, that we end these last 2 games, and especially starting off with next week with one, a more positive performance, and then secondly hopefully a more positive result?
Massively important. The fans have paid the hard-earned money all season to come to the home games and travel to the away games, and we keep going back to the season that the club have had and how well they've done, but the last 2 games will be remembered. Your last away game, your last home game, and we want to end them on a very positive note. So there'll be a lot of conversations this week, I'm sure. Hopefully the gaffer will be back in beginning of the week, and we need to deliver a much better performance in the next 2 games and deliver a much better result as well.
Cheers, Nels.